Franks.
Thank you, Mr Acting President. I move that the second interim report of the Select Committee on Poverty in South Australia be noted.
It's been seconded. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr Acting President. I'm very pleased to bring forward this report. It's the second interim report of the Select Committee on Poverty, which I chair, Mr President. But I also just want to start by acknowledging the work of other members of the committee. It's actually been a very bipartisan and consensus-driven committee. So I thank a newer member, the Honourable Nicola Centofanti, who was appointed on the 7th of April 2020, and I also note that the Minister for Human Services served on the committee between February 2020 and April 2020. I also thank the Honourable Frank Pangello for his service ongoing on the committee, the Honourable Irene Nevmadikos as well, and previous member, the Honourable Terry Stevens, as well as newer member, the Honourable Russell Wortley. The Secretary of the committee is Emma Johnson. She's done some superb work in keeping us on track despite the pressures of COVID, which have really thrown somewhat of a spanner into the works for not just this committee but many of the parliamentary processes, but in particular the research officer to this committee. We are very fortunate to have Ms Sue Marketic as our researcher, and she has produced yet another fine report, Mr Acting President. Indeed, this particular part of the poverty inquiry of this committee's work has focused on the Hutt Street Centre. Indeed, previous work of the committee has looked more broadly at poverty, but this looked at the attacks on those who support those who are in poverty in our state. And the Hutt Street Centre, it would come as no surprise to people in this council, has indeed been the subject of some unprecedented and unusual attacks in both the media and elsewhere on its work. And indeed, the committee finds and notes and supports the Hutt Street Centre in remaining in its current location, and it commends its work, its important work, which it does towards reducing homelessness and providing a broad range of essential services to assist the most vulnerable members of our community. The committee indeed supports the approved redevelopment of the Hutt Street Centre and considers that this will improve the operation of the facility and enable better flow-through of clients. And I know the Honourable Frank Pangello has had a tour, and indeed the President and myself and the Minister for Human Services all attended the opening of the refurbished centre on the weekend, and it certainly is. And indeed, Uncle Moogie again did the welcome and did a wonderful smoking ceremony in the courtyard. And other members of Parliament, certainly the Leader of the Opposition and others were also there in attendance. And it's a tribute to the fine work of the Hutt Street Centre that it has such cross-party and cross-sectoral support. It was a very good day, and I was very pleased to see out in the refurbished centre the gorgeous little children's play space. But I will note that that play space is currently overlooked by CCTV, which I assume will now be removed from the St Andrews Hospital because it is overlooking a child's play space. And I will no doubt reflect somewhat more on that as I make some further observations on this report. Indeed, the committee notes the independent review commissioned by the Adelaide City Council, which examined the planning laws as they relate to the Hutt Street Centre, and it noted the review of the council's conclusion that the centre has not contravened any planning laws or land use regulations. Indeed, the committee has recognised that while Hutt Street Centre provides an important service, it does not and cannot address the complex range of social problems confronting many individuals, such as those experiencing severe mental illness and drug and alcohol addiction. Yet often the blame for anything that happened near Hutt Street was placed at the feet of the Hutt Street Centre. The committee heard from SAPOL and accepts the evidence of SAPOL that the precinct around Hutt Street represents a very low and steady rate of crime in the area compared to other inner-city retail and dining precincts. It does also recognise that comparing crime data between local areas can be difficult, and is indeed not necessarily helpful in addressing community concerns. But the committee accepts that the crime data can be affected by changes in policing activity as well, crime recording practices and the willingness of the community to report crimes. The committee also absolutely endorses the evidence from SAPOL, through which, Mr Acting President, we heard that the Hutt Street Centre is not responsible for causing any increased criminal activity in its precinct. Indeed, to quote the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Paul Dixon, and I quote, "The effects of poverty are seen on our streets every day. We see people walking and sleeping rough in doorways, car parks and in our parklands. These impacts don't only occur within the CBD. Within the Adelaide CBD, this experience is not contained to any one particular location. It can be seen in many areas such as West Terrace, North Terrace, Rundle Street, Whitmore Square, Hutt Street and the South Parklands." And as he goes on to say, and I concur, quote, "To be honest, we have analysed this issue to death. There clearly hasn't been an increase in crime rates or an increase in behavioural issues in that part of the CBD," end quote. That part being the Hutt Street precinct. Indeed, the data showed that the claims made through media and other avenues and social media were erroneous. The committee also very much notes that there may be incidents of antisocial behaviour that are of significant concern to residents and retailers, but they are not always responded to or recorded by police. And indeed, there is further ongoing effort to be done by SAPOL, the Adelaide City Council and the Hutt Street Centre to engage local residents and retailers to appropriately address complaints and issues as they happen. But indeed, improved dialogue is the way forward. It is of concern, I believe, that the Adelaide City Council saw fit to employ a private security officer, Mr Acting President, for some 71 days or so. But despite the expense that put on the ratepayers of the City of Adelaide, it certainly did not find any significant issues of criminality being caused by the Hutt Street Centre. I would have suggested that a better investment in that money would have been to create and support community efforts to engage with the centre itself, and some of the refurbishments that have now been done at the Hutt Street Centre in and of themselves will actually alleviate some of the problems of people out the front of the centre, because now they've got more space out the back. The centre has been gussied up, if you like, and it is a beautiful centre now, where it was indeed a collection of a range of somewhat ageing buildings that have been there for many, many decades, Mr Acting President, but certainly the architects and designers have done an outstanding job, I think, of bringing the Hutt Street Centre into a new era, where I hope that the Hug Street part of Hutt Street will prevail over some of the hateful and hurtful representations we've seen of Hutt Street in these past years. With those words, I commend the report to this council, and I look forward to the further work of this committee as we investigate other areas of poverty in this state.
The Honourable Mr Hanson take the adjournment.
Thank you, Mr Acting President. I move the matter be adjourned.
Is that seconded?